My initial thought, like I said, I knew how it was going to work. Obviously, this is how we designed it. But to see it in action, my first initial thought was just that the governments can't stop this. They just can't. There's just nothing they can do. The old way of doing things, the banking system, the financial system, the government system, the nation state, it's obsolete. It's obsolete at this point, and there's just no stopping human ingenuity, the human drive for freedom.
It's not as obvious to parts of the world that have access to financial infrastructure. And so when you come to places like where we're at right now, down here in El Zonte in El Salvador, they see and they feel the problems a little bit more day to day. 70% of the population down here does not have access to financial infrastructure.
About 2 billion adults, there's about 7.5 billion people in the world. We're about 2 billion adults that are not able to join the financial system. They don't have permission to join. In order to really make an impact on the world, we need to change the money system. We talk about this all the time, like to fix the money, we fix the world. In the United States, in Europe, in Canada, in the Western developed nations, unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize the need, the use case for something like Bitcoin because they don't see the problems. But if you've ever traveled outside of the country, then you understand the problems. Then you see the need for something like Bitcoin.
Where you headed, Moss?
Rushing out the door again. Just got home in time to unpack, repack, and we're out of here, going to El Salvador. Out of the country, back in the country for about 24 hours, back out of the country again. You'd think I hate this place, but I don't. I really love it, but you know, a lot of work to be done, raising money, changing people's lives all over the world. Tireless job. Someone's got to do it.
If we can change the money system, we can change the incentive structure. And of course, Charlie Munger says that you change the incentives, you change the outcomes, or something like that. And if we had a honest, sound money, I think it could fix almost every area of life. And we're seeing this play out in real time. A few years ago, my friend Michael Peterson started a project down in El Salvador, down in Central America, one of the poorest countries in the world. In the rank of nations by GDP, I believe it sits at about 107, so it's pretty far down there. And he started a community outreach program, well, in an area already with community outreach, and he started a project called Bitcoin Beach. Now, I've traveled all over the world. I've been in some of the most remote places in the world as a surfer, chasing these remote locations. And so as I've traveled to these places, it's helped me to gain perspective. Now, I believe that more people should travel more to gain more perspective, but that's another story.
I've seen that need, and while the United States has been captured, I mean, the political system, the education system, the media system, the health system is completely captured. Most of the world's been completely neglected. So we have half the world that lives on less than $5 a day. About half the world has no access to the financial system at all. And that represents a massive opportunity. And so I wanted to do something about that. So I had this idea of bringing jobs down to parts of the world that only make less than $5 a day. And instead of paying them less than $5 a day, how about we pay them $5 an hour? But instead of just paying them in whatever their local currency is or dollars, we'll pay them in Bitcoin. And so we can switch people right off the dollar system and right onto a Bitcoin system. And so that was kind of the vision. We've been working on this for a couple of months. And of course, what better place to work with than Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador? So Bitcoin Beach started a couple of years ago to create a circular Bitcoin economy. So get the stores and the markets to take Bitcoin, get the people to use Bitcoin. And it's been great. It's been a massive success. They've been able to layer on top of it, like technology scales in layers, and they've layered on education and community outreach. They're helping kids go to college, all these different things. And it's been a massive success, such a success, as a matter of fact, that the government took notice. And the government took notice, and they had to step in, and they decided to make Bitcoin legal tender in the country of El Salvador, which is massive. And that's great. It's done amazing things for the community. But there was still more to be done. A lot of the people don't even have smartphones where they can't even use phones and the app needed to use Bitcoin. And even if they did, they don't have jobs. There's not a lot of ways to make money down in El Salvador, especially in the remote area where Bitcoin Beach is. And so, you know, some of the jobs might be available is mostly just manual labor, you know, building roads by hand, building block walls by hand, things like that. Obviously they don't pay very well. And so we decided we'd bring some jobs down. And so we came down and I brought phones. I brought Android phones. I found some people through Bitcoin Beach that they connected us with, and we gave the phones to them. Set them up with an application on the phone that they could do small inputs on the phone and earn money, paid out about $4 to $5 an hour, depending on how fast they can work, and paid out in Bitcoin, paid out in Satoshis and sats. And so this was the plan. We've been working on it for a couple of months. Finally decided to come down and do it. We have 5 phones. So the main purpose of the jobs right now, it's almost always like helping computers to learn. So this is specifically helping machines to recognize speech, to recognize talking. So it'll be listening to like short little clips of Spanish and then transcribing it, writing it down. So listen to a sentence and then type it out.
What Mark is doing with the phones, with Stackwork, with Paul, it's a very small seed for something potentially quite impactful in the world. The idea that someone can generate an income without requiring, you know, the paperwork, visible employer, having to worry about tax or the government getting in the way, and all of the crap that's involved in getting a job.
Seeing it happen in real time was so much more meaningful and impactful than it was knowing what was going to happen already. The big realization I had, so was we met the people, gave them the phones, put them on Wi-Fi, they opened up the app, I gave them a specific code to use, and they instantly were able to do a job and get paid in sats. And seeing that happen, that realization happen where they didn't fill out a job application, there was no information collected, we don't know their names, we don't know their address, we don't know their phone number, they didn't even have to create an anonymous username to use the app. They just opened it up, used the app, did the job, and got paid in sats. Nobody in the middle, no information collected, no honeypot where their data could be compromised or used against them. They didn't have to get permission to open a bank account with all their information stored in a bank website for hackers to get. All they did was download the app, use the app, do the task, and get paid. And the money's in their account, in their own personal bank, in their pocket. And now they can go anywhere in El Salvador and they can spend that. I mean, it's just amazing. And my initial thought, like I said, I knew how it was going to work. Obviously, this is how we designed it. But to see it in action, my first initial thought was just that the governments can't stop this. They just can't. There's just nothing they can do. The old way of doing things, the banking system, the financial system, the government system, the nation state, it's obsolete. It's obsolete at this point. And there's just no stopping human ingenuity, the human drive for freedom. We don't need somebody in the middle trying to regulate every single thing that only creates complications, that creates bottlenecks, captures information that becomes safety issues. We don't need that. Why can't somebody just do a job, get paid, and go spend money? What was amazing is when you speak to the locals, when you talk to the actual people here that are actually using Bitcoin, that are actually using it in their lives, and you ask them, like, what does it mean to you?
Bitcoin for me represents opportunities, a way to save money, and different way to receive and to send money, and also freedom. For me, it's freedom. Bitcoin represents freedom because nobody has the power of your money.
And they get it. It means freedom. It means hope. It means being able to join the financial system. It means being able to get paid and spend money. You know, you talk to all these people like in the Western developed worlds, United States, Europe, whatever, and they might tell you that Bitcoin has no use case. There's no need for it. It doesn't serve any purpose. But that's because they don't see the problems. That's because of their privilege of living in a Western world where they can go spend 20 bucks on a drink at a hotel bar. They don't realize how hard it is for people outside the world. Like in El Salvador, for example, well, globally, about 2 billion adults, there's about 7.5 billion people in the world. We're about 2 billion adults that are not able to join the financial system. They don't have permission to join. No amount of central bank interference or CBDCs is going to solve that because they don't have the permission to join. In El Salvador, they have to spend about $50 a month, as we've been told, about 50 bucks a month to open up a checking account. Well, that's about half of what they might make in a month. How can they spend half their pay just to have a checking account opened? Obviously they can't. Yeah, and then the businesses aren't even able to open up a system to take credit cards because they don't have enough business to do that. And so everywhere you look, people don't have permission to join the financial system. The merchants can't accept it. The local people can't open up a bank account to get the credit cards, the debit cards. And so they're completely shut out. And now, instantly, with no permission, the merchants download an app, the consumers download an app, everyone's working, everyone's spending, everyone's receiving money, and it's been amazing. The other thing, which of course I already know this, but for all the people who are skeptical, the most common complaints or pushback we'd hear on Bitcoin is that it's old technology, it's too slow, it's too expensive, and they've never used it. They don't understand that technology scales in layers. So on Bitcoin's second layer is Lightning. And over the Lightning Network, we can send sats, fractions of a Bitcoin, instant and free, near free. And we've been doing it all over town. So we've been stopping at the bodegas, we've been going and getting pupusas, we've been buying Bitcoin Beach merchandise. I bought my coffee, all in sats. And so at the coffee bar, I want a cappuccino. They pull up the QR code, I get my phone, I point it out there in sats on the Lightning wallet. Scan the QR code, it automatically tells me how many they want. I hit send, instant. In a couple cases, I didn't have enough sats. I sent some Bitcoin on chain, no big deal. I scanned the same thing, sent the Bitcoin. Right now, the Bitcoin transactions are very cheap, but it cost me about 7 cents to send like $40 of Bitcoin. That's on chain. But sending sats for t-shirts, etc., for coffee is almost free and it's instant. Understanding what money is difficult. And it's not taught by most people. And so people think of just money as just a payment mechanism. And so the kids here today in El Salvador are growing up using it already. Young kids, teenagers, they're using it. And Bitcoin is hope for them because the future is not bright for the kids. The baby boomer generation were lucky, right? They grew up during the largest boom, but today the millennials and even the younger kids, they don't have the opportunity. At the rate we're going, homes are going to be, $3 million, $5 million, $20 million. Like, how are they going to be able to afford that? They don't have hope, and so Bitcoin gives them hope. It's amazing.
Hola. ¿Es Ismael? No.
Yeah, that's right.
Mucho gusto.
Nice to meet you.
You doing homework?
Yeah. I'm working in a presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do some more of those jobs?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Is it getting easier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it a lot.
You connect your wallet?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now you're making money.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, it works,
All right.
and I like it.
You have all these people that just seem to get it so good, and you have everybody in the United States are still chasing crypto, and for them it's about trying to make a quick buck and like, can I get this next coin before it pumps? And can I get out before I lose all my money? And it's like they're like in Vegas in a casino.
Thank you.
And like that's cool, I guess. Go gamble in the casino, but like Bitcoin's out here changing lives. It's like changing lives, and these kids get it because they're living it firsthand.
Wait, are you working on
See that contrast? It's amazing, and I think, traveling out of the country is so important because you gain perspective. If you've never left your country, you don't really understand the way the rest of the world works. And so without understanding the problems that they have and how they're living, then you can't understand the impact. And so if you think Bitcoin has no use case, maybe you need to get out of the country.
It's not as obvious to parts of the world that have access to financial infrastructure. And so when you come to places like where we're at right now, down here in Horizonte in El Salvador, they see and they feel the problems a little bit more day to day. 70% of the population down here does not have access to financial infrastructure. And so when they see something like Bitcoin, where there's no gatekeepers, there's no one to ask, there's no one's permission needed to use this system, they can just get paid and protect their savings, and nobody can stop them from earning. Just, they seem to get it. And I think it's a big deal. I think the type of perspective you get from coming to places like this and seeing people on the ground is really important. So good things happen in here.
It's cool to see the kids here the day after we give them the phones, doing the jobs. They're making money. They're super stoked on it. They haven't made this much money this fast. It's amazing.
I think they got it, and you could kind of feel the excitement. And that was just cool to witness, and makes me even more optimistic about what's going on down here and about trying to bootstrap and trying to accelerate adoption of Bitcoin here. I think seeing how the impact that it had on them, the realization that they had when they saw this, I think it gave me a much bigger perspective on how this could impact the rest of the world. When you're in the US, as you know, we live most of our lives in the US, we have access to a lot of stuff that most of the world doesn't. And it's easy to forget a lot of Bitcoin's value proposition until you travel, you see what life is like elsewhere. It gives you that broader perspective. And so it's exciting to think about what Bitcoin can do very big picture for the world.
One of the mottos that I like to live by is that happy people serve others. And so we see too many people that are worried about themselves all the time, thinking about themselves too much, getting depressed because they think about themselves too much, or they're chasing personal happiness, whatever makes them feel good, things like that. So rather than chasing personal happiness, which is a bottomless pit, you're never going to fill it, I believe that we should be focused on other people, focused on their needs, helping them, and when you help somebody else and you see their happiness, it's the greatest happiness, the greatest joy you've ever have. And so one thing I like to do when I'm traveling, when I'm surfing, is how can I help the local community? Typically I'm somewhere, I'm surfing for a couple hours, and then what do I do the rest of the day? So what can I do to help? And so today we spent time with Bitcoin Beach, and we took all the little kids out surfing. They do amazing work in the community here, and of course I had to get behind that. And so my passion is surfing. I love helping other people. So I got to go down with them this morning and take these little kids out, little boys, little girls that were probably all under 10 years old, and take them out in the water, push them onto waves, help them surf, hold the board for them, drag them back and forth. And the smiles on their faces was worth everything. It's just so amazing. And it's my passion for surfing, which is great. They say if you love what you do, you never work. And so I think that helping others should be similar, right? Like, how can I take something that I like to do, that's a passion for me, that I get enjoyment from, and then also use that to help other people? And so putting those things together was awesome. Seeing the enjoyment on their face was awesome. Passing on a passion, teaching somebody else that was awesome. And I love Bitcoin Beach, what they're doing. And then if that wasn't good enough, then Bitcoin Beach got to put us through the paces and kicked our butts. And so then, man, after we were hauling kids back and forth and swimming in the ocean, next thing you know, man, we're doing push-ups on the ground, we're doing burpees and surfer poses. The hardest was doing bear crawls, but not being able to even use our knees, like literally just dragging ourselves on our elbows, and we had to drag ourselves on our hands. We did the wheelbarrow races. And while it may not look that hard, it's hot here. It's really hot, it's really humid. Of course, doing it in the sand isn't easy either. But it was a great way to finish off the morning, or start the morning, I should say. And then we took all the kids back to Bitcoin Beach, the Hope House, carried all the boards back. And there's a lot of really good Bitcoiners that are in town right now. That have all come down to check out what's going on and see how they can help, and it's amazing. And so we got to sit around in a circle. We had a board meeting outside, no shirt on, sitting around in chairs and just talking about the community, what's going on, how the government's responding, what kind of help they need, the dangers that they're facing with scammers coming into the community and trying to take advantage of the people. And just a great way of just kind of a meeting of the minds. Everybody just coming together just out of pure passion to help people and to really push us forward. You know, El Salvador, Bitcoin Beach, El Zante is hope for El Salvador, but really it's hope for the world. So being a surfer and and wanting to share that passion with everybody, and of course we're in El Salvador, which I've traveled here many times surfing before just for fun. I wanted to get everybody surfing. So the little kids, we take the little kids out to the beach where it's shallow and you can walk out, and we push them on the waves. Super simple. Everybody gets up. It's fun. It's safe. It's easy. For the adults that are here.
Okay, yeah, for shoulders, straight for shoulders. Ay, qué rico. Ah, shoulders, because
That was good, Steven.
yeah, okay. Everybody lay down. Yeah. Two, we get your hands beside your ribs. Back foot ready. Back foot ready. Back foot ready. Wait.
The surf guides thought it would be more fun if we went somewhere more challenging. So we got some guides, we got a bunch of boards. We went down to a spot that they thought would be easy enough. There would be real waves, but easy enough. And I think they gave us like an hour of warm up and instruction to maybe feel like we're getting our money's worth. And then they sent everybody out into the ocean, and it was not an easy feat. As someone who's surfed most of his life, it's not somewhere I would probably have gone out to go surf. The ocean was choppy, it's super hard to paddle. It was windy, there's currents, the waves were big, the rocks were hard to get in and out of the ocean. And so it was not somewhere that you would typically take beginners, but you know, they're Bitcoiners, and so they're not afraid. And so they all paddled out into the ocean. And everybody got to experience firsthand how powerful the ocean is. Now, it was not that powerful. Now, typically I would go surf way more, but for a beginner, it was rough. And everybody got pounded. Everybody got to experience being held down by a wave. Everybody got to experience, at least if not just a small part, what it would be like getting pounded by a big wave. I think a lot of people swallowed water. And at the end of the day, everybody got out with maybe a near-death experience. Everyone has a new experience or a newfound passion for life after almost dying.
It was a surfing experience that I'll remember.
More work than you thought?
Yeah, you gotta ask the wave. I didn't do anything. The wave just took over all the time, so.
This is like your second or third time surfing. How'd you do?
Second or third time, more waves caught me. I was planning to catch waves, waves caught me, but hell of a workout.
So same experience.
You're the only one that stood up?
Yellow arm.
Yellow arm. Recky, what are you gonna do? He's gonna drink water. Get in shape. What do you think? That's it. And the fun part is of course, these are the things that we talk about in stories. If everything went smooth, we had nothing to talk about. And we have this crisis bonding. Now the team is bonded over this near-death experience of going surfing, so it's super fun. So we've been walking around trying to see wherever we can spend money. I mean, of course, we want to put money into the community, so we've been stopping at the little bodegas and little stores, buying some water, buying whatever we can. But the very first place in town to accept Bitcoin is a place called Mama Rosa's. It's a little restaurant on the road, on the highway. And the favorite here in town is pupusas. And so, of course, we had to go by Mama Rosa's, and we had to get some pupusas and pay in sats for sure. They were delicious. I had the chicken, cheese, and jalapeno. It's like a corn tortilla that they put together, and they put the stuffing inside, and they heat it up on the grill. And had a couple of those. It was amazing. It was amazing having the local food, and like I said, visiting where history was made, right? The very first place in El Salvador where Bitcoin was taken. So we came down with a pretty big crew. It was just an idea. I needed to come down and deliver these phones and these jobs, and so I reached out to a couple of people, who then reached out to a couple more people, and reached out to a couple more people, and we got a pretty big group going pretty quickly. We got to stay at a beautiful place in El Zonte, which is called Garten Hotel, which has been founded by a really good guy, Bo. He's a Bitcoiner. He accepts Bitcoin at the hotel.
So we started accepting Bitcoin to support the local initiative that's happening here. The wake-up call for me was when we tried to get bank accounts for our employees so that we could pay them with direct deposit. And for them to have a checking account, it was $50 per month per account. And here the minimum wage is it's going to be $360 starting next month. So that's I don't know, like 15% of your, if you were making minimum wage, your salary going directly into the bank's pocket pre-tax. So what we did was we were able to negotiate with the bank, but other people kind of don't have that power. And here what people use it for is they use it to receive tips. They use it as a store of wealth, and they use it as a ease of transaction since there is no ATM here and people don't have time to just take a bus an hour away to go and take out cash when they need it. So we started to accept it first as it supported the local initiative. And then the benefits to us have been made really clear because for our credit card POS, the bank takes 5.4%, which is 5% plus the tax the bank pays. So we pay their tax plus our tax plus, a third tax, the VAT tax plus the tourism tax. So by the end of all of that, everything kind of waterfalls and you end up with a lot less than you planned for. Whereas with Bitcoin, you receive the exact amount into your account. You have it there, you have all the details there. It's a little bit manual right now in terms of making the receipt, but for us, it's definitely worth it for the larger bookings to receive the full amount in. And also for people that are using Bitcoin that come here, for our waiters, they have their Bitcoin Beach wallets with the QR code. So when someone's at the bar, if they don't have cash on them, but they want to throw a $20 tip, they just scan the QR and send the Bitcoin. And then they use it for like the private taxis around here. If they need to go into town for the day or something, they accept that. So it's a win for everyone, really.
All his packages are priced in Bitcoin, and he said he's going to keep them priced in Bitcoin regardless of what the USD value is. So he's a Bitcoiner, he gets it. Awesome host. The place is absolutely beautiful. It may not be the most budget place if you're looking for that, but if you're looking for an exceptional place on the beach, beautiful, exceptional service, we definitely recommend Garden Hotel. It's been great. The groups loved it, and beautiful pools, infinity waterfall pools overlooking the beach. It's an amazing, highly recommended spot. Like, the world needs El Salvador to succeed, because if El Salvador succeeds, then the rest of the world will go. And so even though El Salvador is a very small country in the grand scheme of the world, it's the use case, it's the leading test case, and so we need it to succeed above everything.